these players is a 43, which is really good.
Yep, and we got our layout change, so we are nearly there. We are about to get started.
Probably the countdown. It's just about to get started here. So yeah, we have Benteezy and Ikod down below, and then we have Swesie and Flarebear. They're all starting off right now, and as you can see, they're going into prologue. This is where strats start being used. You'll be seeing them jump a lot because every time that you jump, Madeline gets a little bit of a speed boost, and it saves about 2 frames each time. So over the course of the prologue, you save around a second, and it's just a little bit faster. All right. So far, they're all jumping a lot. All of them are at the end. No deaths, thankfully. Benteezy, I guess, forgot to turn on his timer, but we'll see if he decides to do that later. All right, so now they are moving into Chapter 1, which is Forsaken City, and there are quite a lot of things they throw at you right away. First off is the zippers, which are moving platforms, and we should take this time to talk about the dashes. There are a bunch of different type of dashes that you can combo with a bunch of different jumps. So there are dash jumps that you're seeing them do a lot, as well as wall bounces, where they dash up towards the wall and then bounce off to get extreme amounts of height and speed as well. And then you get hypers, where you hold down and forward and then do a dash jump, and that's called a hyper. And then ultras, which we will see later. And all these jumps can be used as a reverse. So they start going one way, then they go the other way, and that gives them a little bit more distance.
Yeah, we also have a bunch of fallen platforms going on and some really precise jumping onto some small areas where hitboxes for spikes don't exist.
Yeah, so we saw a few people earlier having a little bit of trouble with the wall bounces, resulted in a few deaths, but that's okay. It takes a little bit of time to get used to, especially with a lot of this tech in this game. We're going to be seeing a few people going for some spike jumps here, specifically Ikod got it first try, very nice. Benteezy just finished Chapter 1, had a very nice one as well. And Ikod is right behind him.
Yeah, so Swesie and Flarebear are on that screen that I was referring to, and there's Benteezy switching to file timer, so good.
Yeah, I'm glad he noticed that.
Or he might have been told about it, because I was trying to make sure he knew about it. I typed it in chat. Maybe he looked there.
So moving into Chapter 2, which is Old Site, there are going to be a few new things here. You're going to be seeing them do a lot of hypers in this to skip a lot of portions in this chapter at the very beginning. Right here's for Benteezy, right there, you saw that. He skipped that entire room. This right here is the first glitch. If you if you activate the cutscene there, when you are super high up, you will keep your Y-axis height, and you will actually spawn inside of the dream block, which just skips you having to dash up. It's a minor time save, but it saves around 2 or 3 seconds, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's actually has to do with the height that you are away from it. I think it's just any time that you skip cutscene while in midair during before a cutscene, it'll just keep your Y-axis position and change your X-axis to what it would be in the cutscene.
Yeah, it can be done a lot in any other cutscene, but like for most of them, it just soft locks you.
or kills you immediately.
Yeah. So everybody right now is in the battle line. I guess chase. I was gonna say fight. It's not really a fight. Basically, she follows your exact movements, but she has 3 seconds behind you the entire time. So if you slow down or you mess up on your movements, you're gonna die.
And Benteezy's already out of it.
Yeah, pretty good. Nice ultra right there. An ultra I forgot to mention was after you do a hyper and you dash during that hyper, you keep your speed and even build upon it a little bit. So he did a very nice one there. And he's moving into the awake section while the others are following quickly behind him.
Yeah, everyone making some pretty good times. I got making an impressive showing despite him being the one with the lowest PB.
Yeah, Swesie had a little bit of trouble there with some of the rooms of the battle line section, but also falling quickly behind. Not far behind at all, but nonetheless. So Benteezy, now done with Chapter 2, moves into Celestial Resort. Definitely a place where, for casual players, it'll start to, the difficulty will definitely start to ramp up. And the chapters also start to get longer. You'll be seeing them getting keys now, which are a main part. You can't continue without a key. And if you, in between screen transitions, you regain your dash. So you saw Benteezy use that to his advantage there, and you'll see Ikod do it right here. One of the easiest skips in the game, just a skip climbing up there. And we have these dust bunnies. Nice swag strawberry from Benteezy, by the way. We have these dust bunnies, which some of them are stationary, but the other ones are on cycles. And for speedrunners, they have to learn 2 cycles. One when they enter right into the room, and one if they die in the room. And they're both different each time, so if you die, you're going to have to make sure you know that death cycle, or else you're going to have a little bit of a struggle.
Yes, we also have these things on the floor that little red prickly things that when you hit that floor or wall, it will spawn a dust bunny where that on that place where you stood or grabbed the wall at.
Yeah.
So
unfortunate
you can't
death
touch
there.
that part of the floor or wall anymore.
Yeah. So there will be some points where they need to sometimes backtrack on some of those platforms, so they need to leave a little bit of room for themselves. And it's mainly seen in 100%, but there's only a few instances of that in this in any percent. So now into the big mess portion right now for Benteezy. Very contained space where you don't really have much room to do much movement, but we work with it as much as we can.
Getting a good ultra into the screen transition there.
Yeah, I just saw that too. And we see Ikod here just also starting off the
and the
button
instant
process.
spike jump. So spike jump using playing around with the mechanics of spikes, being that it's a very interesting mechanic that I find very unique to Celeste. That if you are moving away from the spikes, you won't be counted as hitting the spikes. So you can use this to advantage so that you can just hit interact with the wall behind it without triggering the spikes because you are currently moving away from them.
Yeah, and we'll see them go for that a couple more times. I'm pretty sure 2 more times in total.
I believe that...
Actually 3, I think.
There might be a couple of those we're thinking of that are just simply abusing the hitbox of the spike entirely.
Yeah, I think that's it.
the hitbox shape, and that'll happen later.
Swesie and Flarebear are actually extremely close right now. I had to say something, I'm sorry. Oh, nice save there by Swesie.
Don't apologize for commentating, dude.
No, but it happened last night, but whenever I commentate and I say, like, wow, they're doing really good, they die, I feel so bad.
It's fine.
So, good spike jump there by Swesie.
Commentator curse is always a thing.
Yes, it is. So, we forgot to mention this, but they are hitting these buttons, and this is why Chapter 3 turns out to be so long. You have to hit 3 buttons to clear out the mess. It does not matter what order you do them in, however, it matters for us, because after each one you have to talk to Oshiro, who is that ghost guy, who runs this resort, and just wants you to stay for a little bit. But he spawns in different areas, so we kind of routed it so that it's easier to get to him each time.
Yeah, he's trying to run a business. He doesn't get very many visitors at this point anymore, so he sees someone and he wants them to stay.
He's just lonely is all. Very nice
and
hypers
poor.
there by Benteezy.
Lonely and poor. And also intentional death by Benteezy. You keep the key when you die, so you just do a quick retry to get respawned at the beginning of the room to save some time.
Yeah, and in that room that he did the retry, I mentioned it very shortly, but doing hypers there is a clear showing of what I mean. But there are death cycles, and there are once you enter the room cycles. Because if he died or just took a little bit of time there, the cycles would have been off, and he had to wait for a little bit to do the 4 hypers that he did on those platforms, which also Ikod did very well. And Flarebear and Swesie in the exact same room right now. They are extremely close together. And now we see that Benteezy and now Ikod are going into, or are already in, the Oshiro boss fights. And Oshiro will charge at you from the left of the screen, showing that lightning wherever he's going to end up going. And this is definitely casually one of the hardest parts of Chapter 3, but we make quick work of it because we know how to manipulate him each time. Alright, so Flarebear and Swesie literally seconds apart from each other, like milliseconds right now. Alright, so there we go. We have Benteezy now done with Chapter 3. Ikod, just a little bit, I had to take an unfortunate death there from these Dash Crystal rooms. But he is also on the last stage of the Oshiro boss fights. Benteezy now moving into Chapter 4, where you're introduced to these bubbles which shoot you in a at the same length as a normal dash, and it also refills your dash. And this is also one of the most hated chapters for speedruns, at least because of the wind that you are seeing on Benteezy's screen right now. And it can go in 80 directions, so we kind of just have to memorize what comes next and what we need to do in order to deal with the wind. Alright, so so far the top two players on the top of the screen working through the Oshiro fights. Swesie is in the second last.
Flarebear on the last screen, which is the longest screen of the Oshiro fight, and making it
Also,
through so far. Gotta make sure you don't die here, otherwise you get sent way back.
Yeah, also that like any of the rooms, if you die in any of the rooms of the Oshiro fight, they can all be very costly, so taking a death in those could mean a huge time. Okay, I had to say it. Sorry, Swesie.
No, that's fine. No, it's bound to happen.
Yeah.
Benteezy using directional block, so I'm gonna do an auto scroll. Oh, hit the bottom corner there.
He went for it, and it didn't work out.
It's fine. So he'll be going for it again probably here. So yeah, hyper into a bunny hop as a way to keep the momentum going. Some people prefer that as opposed to just a straight up hyper behind the directional platform. So the directional platform actually gives you gives you more momentum than just the hyper would give you. So you're using that directional block as well in that trick.
So all players now in Golden Ridge, they are only screens behind each other. Very close race from all four of them. And we're going to see Ikod here. I think he's going to go for the auto-scroller skip. Let's see if he gets it. Yes, he's going for it. Very nicely done there. Definitely made up some time on Benteezy. Alright, we saw that spike jump there, or sorry, the abusing of the hitbox, I'm pretty sure that one was by Flarebear. Alright, so now...
watching, so I actually wasn't sure what you were talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, Benteezy is now moving on into the final big win portion of Chapter 4. So he will be done it fairly soon, but now has to deal with these snowballs, which are basically Oshiro, but they don't tell you where they're going to go, but they are on a set timer of when they're going to go off, and they come from the opposite end of the screen. Very close there from Benteezy. Almost got hit by it. Managed to save himself, though. Now we see Swesie going for the auto-scroll skip. Also gets it first try. Very well done by all the players for the auto-scroll skip.
Yeah, there's also a version of doing that without the directional block, but that one's even more precise.
I've only seen it done in a task. There's also one for the other auto-scroller in this chapter, but no one would go for it, so... It involves a lot of frame-perfect spike jumps that you need to do. And now Benteezy's moving into Mirror Temple, while the others are close behind them. Ikod only a couple screens behind him right now. And the screen that Swesie is on is the one I was talking about, the other auto-scroller. There is a way the task could skip this, but definitely not RTA viable.
Oh, absolutely not. We do a small not even doing the small skip. Doing an extended hyper at the end there, so you don't have to wait all the way for that block to go all the way to the right.
Yes.
So Benteezy and Mirror Temple did a quick extended hyper there. Barely even noticed it. And we also got these red bubbles, which work like the bubbles that we see in Golden Ridge, except they go on for an infinite amount of length, and will only stop if you hit a wall or you dash out of them.
Yes, and we will see much more in Chapter 5. Chapter 5 is one of the longest chapters.
Yes. But also the dash blocks is an important thing to note. When you dash, they move. Here we got a small skip here that is intended by the developers.
Didn't go for double bubble skip, but that one's a little bit risky.
That combines multiple advanced strats at once, so it's understandable.
Yeah. I've seen a few people go for it like a few times, and if they miss it, they just don't care.
Yeah.
Alright, so now Benteezy moving into the introduction of the Seekers here. And you actually get to play as one for a little bit. Alright, and as you can see here, Swesie just finished up Chapter 4, got a good lead on Flarebear, who he was behind a little bit at the start of, so definitely made up time in Golden Ridge. Now they're only like a second apart from each other. Alright, so now on Benteezy's screen, we are going to be getting to the unwind section. And this is the part that gave me nightmares. But we'll be facing I can't remember
Seekers.
the names. Seekers. I said it before. I'm sorry. All right, and
okay.
Oh, unfortunate death there. We will be seeing the Seekers in these rooms, and they will chase you. And at some points, they can seem like they're a little random, but like we can manipulate them to actually grab some of the lock switches for us. Just like Benteezy did right there. Very nice reverse as well. So we use them to our advantage, so we can just have to not get one of those lock switches for ourselves. Minor time saves, but definitely saves time overall.
Yeah, so there could be very annoying creatures because of how quickly they can charge towards you. You could see Benteezy retrying there because he didn't get the manipulation on the Seeker that he wanted. So he retried to reset the position of the Seeker.
Yeah. And now he is moving into what we call Search Skip. And definitely the biggest skip in this game in the run. It saves approximately 2 to 3 minutes. It just saves us having to go get keys to do this way the intended way. But they actually, the developers left the skip in right here intentionally just for us speedrunners.
Yep. It's
So
a
just
reverse.
Yeah,
That is a reverse extended hyper. And so you do that, and you're able to pass through that. So now we're moving into the section here. After this Seeker, after these couple Seeker screens, we'll be into the Theo section, which is another dreaded section of Mirror Temple.
One of the most hated, probably the most hated.
So with Theo here, you can't dash while holding him, and you do kind of have like heavier controls when you are holding him as well. But there is a small benefit in that there is a small gimme that they have that you can you maintain all momentum when you grab Theo, so that you are able to dash or hyper dash into the direction of Theo and then grab him, so that you and just go flying. So in some cases you'll see that. I think in the next screen after this one that Benteezy is on, you'll see
It's this one right here. And Tast does a huge shot. Oh, he missed it.
Wasn't able to grab Theo off of the moving platform there, but if you were to grab Theo, you would pretty much end up right back, right to that dash block right there.
Oh, and he killed the Seeker. Wow, that's disrespectful.
Rare thing to see, because it's not easy to lure them into spots where they are killable.
Yeah, and right here you'll see him go above the button right here. Saves a little bit of time. And now he is just going to be leaving Mirror Temple. Had a pretty clean Mirror Temple, except for that one retry he had to do, and that unfortunate death as well.
Yeah, and that looks to be a 451 Mirror Temple.
Very good.
Which is, yeah, that's very impressive.
All right, and we see search skip going on for both of the top two players. Again, the top two players are extremely close to each other right now, Swesie and Flarebear. And we're going to see them both go for search skip right here. Here goes Swesie on it. Very nice. And now here comes Flarebear with it as well. Also very good. Wow, I think that's perfect for each runner today.
Yeah, first tries on the search skips.
Yeah, sometimes it can be a little trolly. Sometimes you don't regain your dash after the reverse, so sometimes it can be a little upsetting. But all of them got it perfect. And now we have Reflection here. Shout out to Kevin, by the way, for the nice Kevin block noises we will hear, or the crush blocks as they're actually called. There they are.
And yeah, it's doing and Benteezy doing a quick lake skip, managing to pull that off. It's a wall bounce in the water, followed by another wall bounce out of the water. And so
very difficult to do.
It is pretty difficult, very fairly precise, and it takes about 2 seconds, I think.
Something like that,
yeah. So we got new in this chapter. We got the feathers, which are a way they let you fly in any direction, all 360 degrees. And then we got these for a short amount of time, and then Kevin blocks here, which the direction you dash on them, that's the direction they will go. And you can also carry their momentum similar to other moving blocks.
And we will see that specifically when we get to the boss fight of Chapter 6. The amount of momentum you can get is crazy from these guys. And so, as we see here, Swesie and Flarebear, again, both only maybe 1 or 2 seconds apart from each other. This is crazy. Actually, maybe a little bit more, maybe 5 seconds from each other, but still, that is insane right now. Very close race from them. You also see these bumpers, by the way, and these bumpers on in Chapter 6, or Reflection, they actually, if you dash into them and you hold the opposite direction, which we will see in a upcoming room, they will send you farther than they normally would have, and you get a little bit more distance from them. Alright, and now Ikod had a little bit of trouble there with that Theo section, but he and Flarebear finished off at the exact same time there, and they are now moving into Reflection with Swesie not far behind at all. And we see Benteezy just on the final part here before Granny, where it starts to become this is sort of the chapter where you really like face your issues against Battleline, and you actually have a boss fight against her later on. So the feather is all analog stick dependent. So if you're playing on keyboard, the feather is going to be very difficult to control.
I've gotten used to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's fine.
And here's some nice developer-intended skips. A little risky to go for because there's no checkpoints if you go for them, but Benteezy got through them without much trouble at all. So now into the only water section, thankfully. Apparently Chapter 6 was supposed to be entirely water, so I think I speak on behalf of all speedrunners. I'm glad they took that out.
It would have been interesting to see, considering you have infinite dashes while in the water. It seems like it wouldn't be that difficult to control. Like your controls seem pretty 1-to-1 in the water.
True, and almost had a very good battle line boost there by Benteezy. Got stuck on a wall though, but still very good. That's to show off how much momentum you get from the Kevin blocks. And now we're into the battle line fight. Instead of just chasing you, she decides to do the opposite and just wait for you to come hit her. All you have to do is touch her, so this boss fight is completely movement intensive, and is a really cool platforming boss fight. Almost got crushed there, though.
Yeah, there are these falling blocks that happen, and we know where they're going to go, so you can predict a good amount of it and be able to avoid it and understand what your pathing has to be to take the fastest route. But it can look pretty close in certain situations, like it did there.
Yeah, and a lot of these rooms, if you end up taking a death just because of like a weird laser shot that Battleline fires at you, can result in a pretty costly death. Nice ultras there by Benteezy. Yeah.
So you avoid using a feather there, which is the intended strat, and also what a lot of speedrunners go for in that room. But due to clever use of some ultras and money hops, you're able to get through there without needing the feather, which is slightly faster.
Yes, and we see the other runners just now going to be getting to the chasing battle line section, and we see that Ikod here is going into his last room right before it. All runners are fairly close to each other. Benteezy a little bit farther ahead from the others, but Ikod as well as Flarebear are on the exact same screen. A second ago they were. Alright, so now Benteezy is onto the second phase here, where Battleline will start moving some blocks and actually start being a little bit more aggressive than she has been. And it's, again, this is all like cycle based. Oh, unfortunate death there. That ball just didn't go the right way that he wanted to. Alright, and we are seeing those developer intended strats and skips right there from Flarebear. Alright, so Benteezy is on the second last screen right now of the fight, having a very clean Chapter 6 so far, just a few unintended deaths, but still very good.
Yes, and just like a lot of the other chapters, the final screen is a very long screen, so that you have to make sure that you don't get killed throughout any of it, otherwise you're getting sent really far back.
Yeah, and now we see him getting to level up here, getting a second dash, as showing that you and Battleline have now teamed up together to climb Celeste Mountain. And he will be leaving Chapter 6 fairly soon. Just this last climb up to the Battleline Orb, and he is out of there. And meanwhile, we have Flarebear here, just starting off the Battleline fight. We're about to see Ikod go for Battleline boost here, off of the Kevin block, and Swesie pulled ahead of Ikod and is now in the Battleline fight as well. So now Benteezy's moving on to the summit, which is basically a collection of all of the chapters, like everything you've learned, all combined into one extremely long chapter. So all the things that we talked about in the other chapters all get shown again here, so if you missed it before, you'll be able to see them all here again.
Yeah, optimally, I believe this chapter takes about 7 minutes, so...
Yeah, that's optimally. For like most runners, it'll take around like 10 to 12, maybe 13 minutes.
I mean, I've seen some good 9s from some lower runners at some points.
Yeah. But especially
Anyway.
casually, it's a very long chapter.
Anyway, so we are at 0 meters right now. At the end of every section, there is that little part where you are meeting up with Battleline in the orbs, and you have to touch them in order to fly into them. You have to touch every single one of them before you can move on to the next screen. And
Yes.
now we are in 500 meters, which is an homage to Forsaken City. We got these zippers, which we didn't really use as much, but now that we have a lot more verticality in these screens, they're going to be used a lot more, considering our movement doesn't allow us to go as far vertical as we would want to.
Yeah, had a little bit of unfortunate time there with that zipper. He accidentally grabbed onto it, which makes it activates, and didn't get what he wanted from it, so he just retried. And we see right now that Flarebear right now is going to be moving into the second phase of the Battleline fight, while we have Ikod, who's already in it.
Moving on to the 1,000 meter section, we got the space dream blocks from Chapter 2. Using them in ways that the developers intend, but you don't really get to see until later post-game levels. Jumping out of them, and in some cases even hypering out of them, which appears what Benteezy is doing here.
Yeah, it's crazy how to hyper out of them. I think it's like only a few frames of a chance that you get to do that. I'm pretty sure it's a 1-frame window. And he's getting them off pretty good there. That's a lot of hypers there that he got. Alright, we see that Flarebear right now is on the last screen of the Battleline fight here. While Ikod and Swesie are very close together on the second last screen, so Again, all three of the other racers very close together.
And on the 1500 meters, an homage to the hotel.
Yep, and this is one of the ones that is very cycle-based, again with the Dust Bunnies. So you need to know both of the death cycles and the entering cycles.
Yeah, and a lot of precise cycle skips as well. In order to do the fastest strats, you got to be able to be very precise with your hypers and keeping your momentum going, especially on this screen right here.
Yeah, that room right there, that's what we like to call the Ultra Room.
And he actually got a slower cycle there and reacted well to it. You're supposed to be able to get there before he got like half a cycle behind, I would say.
And right there, he took a room that would normally be used to get a berry, but instead he used it just because it's faster than the normal intended route. So we just go that way instead and do a dash jump and then dash into the next room.
Meanwhile, Flarebear has started his ascent in the summit. And
Ikod has finished off Chapter 6, moving into Summit now, and we have Swesie just now finishing off Reflection. All players very close together. Alright, so now we're on to the 2000 meter for Benteezy here, which is based off after Golden Ridge, obviously. Missed the berry, not like this.
Okay, we got an auto-scroller, another auto-scroller script here. Hyper, extended hyper to get the dash
Almost
back.
missed it. Oh.
And then a wall bounce there at the end. That wall bounce is, I think, probably one of the most more annoying parts of that auto-scroller skip. So I continue to hold my breath even after you get that extended hyper. And,
yeah, I would very much agree with that.
And a wall bounce there to get a smaller auto-scroller skip there as well.
Yeah, so now everybody's in Chapter 7. They're in the summits. Some a little bit ahead of others, but still overall very close. Benteezy now moving on to 2500 in a little bit, which is based after Mirror Temple, and then he'll be making his final ascent to the top of Celeste Mountain. Meanwhile, we have Flarebear just leaving 500, moving on to 1000. Ikod in 1000 or 500, and Swesie just got to 500. All right, so coming up fairly soon for Benteezy, after a few screens, we're gonna be seeing door skip, which I'm assuming he's gonna go for.
I think a thing that's a bit, in my opinion, a bit more impressive is, as fun as door skip can be, is this one coming up on
Key skip, yeah.
Well, key skip is good too.
Oh.
So that's an abuse on the hitbox right there. The hitbox does not exist at the bottom of that flooring, but I'm talking about a small little pixel window between the spikes and a dash block that happens the screen before door skip.
Oh, right, that one. All
right
and,
here, yeah.
Yeah, right
and
here.
Getting that is extremely precise.
And now here he goes for door skip. Got one. And he gets two. There it is.
Nicely done. So that is a 1 second time save.
And everybody makes it sound like it saves way more, but it only saves a second. But everybody seems to want to go for it just to show off.
It does look pretty cool.
It looks awesome. But it's not needed or anything. Alright, so fairly close right now between Swesie and Ikod. Meanwhile, Flarebear in the 1500 meter, and Benteezy making his final ascent to the end of the game. We'll probably be seeing a couple of these flag skips, which are risky but also rewarding. Here's this nice abuse of the wall jumps there, and the wall bounces.
Yeah, throughout this, a lot of the section, we have vertical wind going on. Here we got a downward wind happening, which increases our fall speed and lowers the jump height.
Yeah, and a lot of people see this as like the most annoying part of Summit, just because you can't really jump too high or anything on that, but using dash jumps you can actually get a lot of height and a lot of speed really quick in this section. And now Benteezy moving into the upwards, the up breeze section here, where you just get a lot of heights, and we're going to be using that to get into some really crazy sections and really crazy flags, which if you die on them, definitely are time wasters.
And Benteezy now on the upward draft section. Kind of hard to tell considering with how the wind deals with bitrate on streaming. So yeah, I'm telling you now, that is upward wind, so it is making you more floaty. You fall slower and you jump higher.
Yes, and we see here that Flare is just about to get out of 1500. Swesie right behind him. Very extremely close match for them, considering that they are competitors in this match. And we are seeing here Benteezy getting to flag number 10, only 10 left to go.
Yeah, and keep in mind the fact that Flarebear's IGT is slightly ahead of Swesie's right now. So they are actually pretty much getting to the same screens at roughly the same time.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Ikod is still in 1500, having a little bit of trouble on the screen here. Flarebear and Swesie both in the exact same room. Swesie, let's see if he goes for the auto-scroll skip or if he decides to take it safe. Oh,
goes for it, but
yeah,
miscalculated when to do it. Flarebear choosing to do it a bit later, doing an extended hyper a bit later into it. Nice
having trouble with
here.
it.
Yeah, this is very. It can be slightly forgiving here with the wall bounces.
And that was enough for Swesie to catch back up again. And, Benteezy taking a painful death there on number 3. Having some fun right there, just letting his opponents catch up a little bit. Alright, and he's going to be moving on to flag number 2, so he's almost done, and just has one more actual flag left, and then we have flag 1. And, Swesie now, almost, pretty much synced up with Flarebear right here. Just one screen behind a little bit. And here we go with Benteezy. He is just now finishing up at the end of flag 1. There we go, 34-02. Very well done by Benteezy. Congratulations to his win. And we see both Flarebear and Ikod on different launch sections, which was kind of funny to see. And now both Swesie and Flarebear are on the 2,500 meters. Very close race by them. One screw-up could result in big time gain for the other racer.
Yeah, so this is going to be... I'm going to be switching to a main focus between these two players, as they are less than, 3 screens apart at a lot of points right now.
And not only that, they are the ones they are racing in this one. Benteezy and Ikod are competitors in this one, and Swesie and Flarebear are competitors in this one. So they are literally key skip away from each other right now.
Yeah, so while Benteezy and Ikod race is decided, Ikod will keep going, considering that finish times are important to this to the race. Ikod not getting an auto-scroller skip there, was getting got to the directional block a bit too late, so I had to retry.
Yeah, Swesie having a little bit of trouble with a key skip. It is a pretty difficult trick.
And Flarebear here going for that little little few pixels window of no hitboxes that I was talking about earlier. Gets it on the 4th try there.
Having a little bit of trouble with it. Decides not to go for door skip again. It only saves a second, and it looks like Ikod decides to forfeit.
That looks like it looked like it was getting pretty laggy. I don't think that was a forfeit. It was more of restarting the game itself, which is allowed considering we have in-game time. Yeah, it appeared laggy. I assumed it was his stream being laggy, but perhaps it was the game.
Maybe it is the game, yeah, and it still is being a little bit laggy right now. Oh, I got better. Alright, there we go. And, literally, Flarebear and Swesie not far behind at all. This is going to be a photo finish. It looks like it.
Flarebear able to get to the 3,000 meter part first. But yet again, this in-game timer being slightly deceiving, and it's hard to tell actually who is actually in the lead right now.
Yeah, and any mess ups here can mean the world for the other player.
and some it can be very punishing. It's not especially in this downdraft section. You have much less time to react because of the higher gravity.
Yeah, nice R-scroll hit by Ikod, but messed up on that room. And they are literally only a few flags away from each other. Nice spike jump there by Swesie. Alright, so now Flarebear moving on into the upward draft section. Again, Swesie not far behind. Only one flag behind.
And now into the updraft section. So this, while you do have more time to react here, this is still a very difficult section because you got a lot of areas where you have very little room between spikes to actually do the tricks. You're pretty much forced onto a path in this section.
Yeah.
Oh, and Flarebear losing his stamina, forcing himself to have to respawn at that checkpoint flag.
And now they are literally neck and neck. Oh my god. This is crazy. Okay, this is gonna be very close.
Well, they are literally synced on the screen right now.
This is insane. Oh my god. Oh my god, maybe a second of time save right now from Swesie, but that's... Oh, man. And then an unfortunate death there.
12 there. This could be pretty difficult. Not going for the jump around the spikes, neither of them going for that, actually. And now onto flag 11, and we're very close again.
Reminder that the in-game timers are a little desynced. Swesie's is a little bit behind, so that means that even if Flarebear finishes first, it could still be Swesie's game.
Ooh, Swesie taking a death on flag number 10 there. I think that was actually, yeah, that was flag 10. I thought it was.
Yeah, it was flag 10.
Yeah. Now, Flarebear pulling ahead here, going into flag 6. And Swesie now just hitting flag 7.
Not far behind though, only one feather behind right now.
No, absolutely keep paying attention to these two right now. And so flag 4 for Flarebear, and Swesie about to hit flag number 5.
They are very neck and neck right now. This is a very extremely close race between them throughout this entire section.
I think this is the closest race we've had so far.
I wouldn't be surprised. Meanwhile, Ikod is going to be joining them in 3000 right now.
Swesie about to hit the final flag after a few wall sections here.
And again...
So Flarebear and Swesie are on the same flag. Flarebear just got flag 1. So, yeah, let's make sure we see the final time here, as Flarebear's in-game timer is slightly ahead of Swesie's. Because this is coming down to the wire. As they are
and his time is... I didn't see his time. Very extremely close race there. Wow. Only 4 seconds apart from these two.
Flarebear was able to beat that with a 39-14, and Swesie getting a 39-19.
That is what an insane race. Flarebear, congratulations on the win, but wow, Swesie, that was an extremely close race at the end. One minor mess up could have meant the complete opposite right there. And now we see Ikod going into 3000 and just about to finish, or in the final section, which is 3000. Wow, I'm out of breath.
Yeah, that was very.
I don't know what to say.
What we can say is to move on to Ikod here, who is on flag. I believe that was 15. I'm not entirely sure. That's hard to tell in this section right now. Oh no, we're still in the 20s. What am I saying?
Yeah, so we are still in the downward draft section. Oh, sadly ran out of stamina there. Alright, and so... Oh. I think I have to reload my stream. Alright, moving into the upper draft section here now. for Ikod. Alright, so now Ikod moving on to some of the what most would debate being the harder flags would be this one as well as the next one, where it has the most costly amounts of deaths.
Yeah, there's a pretty long points between flags in those last few sections right there. So
yeah,
pretty annoying to have to if you end up dying in that place.
yeah, and as we saw, he actually took a death there, and especially there at the very end, it definitely wastes quite a big amount of time. There we go. Got it the second try though.
Ikod going for the jump around the spikes there, and is now on flag 11.
And now flag 10. So he will be coming up fairly soon. Oh,
just a dash to the left a little bit too early, ending up hitting the spikes on the ceiling there.
literally a hair away from the spikes, and just
Looks like he took another death there, probably on this section that he just got into now. And so now he got flag number 9.
trying to go for a reverse right there, but didn't actually get it. Skipping flag 8, that's the one that most people tend to skip in this upward draft section.
Yeah, it is slightly out of the way, so you don't go for it.
And nice hyper right there into that feather. That was very well done there. And now moving into the final 5 checkpoints. This might actually be a PB for Ikod if the rest goes well. I'm pretty sure his PB is a 43 right now, so who knows? If everything else goes well and goes stable, you could see a nice improvement here.
Yes, on flag number 3 right now.
Oh, Knight decides to take that jump right there, which can be a little bit risky. And now on flag number 2, yeah, it looks like this is going to be a PB for him, as long as everything else goes okay. Look at that, on to flag number 1. Congratulations to Ikod on a great run, and I'm fairly sure this is a big improvement to his time, because I'm pretty sure this is going to sub 42 for him. And yes, it does. 41-40. Very well done by all the runners.
Okay, and we also have Flarebear and Swesie, who had a very close race, as we all saw, ready for interviews. So I'm going to pull them in now, and we can talk to them.
Actually, really hard, just for no reason.
All right,
Hello?
hey guys.
Oh, hi.
You guys had an extremely close race. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were discussing it a bit. I'm a bit
5
upset.
seconds off. That is insane. That is
I'm sad.
crazy. Don't be sad, dude. You made an impressive showing there. At one point, you
No,
guys
I did not.
being-
No, I did not.
At one point, you guys were exactly in sync with your movement, and it was the funniest thing I've seen.
What, in like 3,000 meters?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
actually, I think it was like flag 13. You guys were synced because
Let me guess that it was my death there at the flag 10 that decided what happened later.
sadly, yes, it did
yeah,
decide
yeah.
that.
God damn it. I got so angry at myself because I was like, fuck, if this just does something dumb, I'm gonna be mad. And yeah, well, okay.
Let's see if the other
Upset.
two want to get in here as well so they can talk about their run.
I'm not seeing them in the server quite yet, but we can keep talking to Flarebear and Swesie. There's a lot to talk about with that run, actually.
Yeah, so like we were like talking about things that could have been different to save it, because obviously 5 seconds being that close. I was throwing in Summit so hard. There were 2 times. I think I lost 30 seconds in total just to retrying and the skip cutscenes at the end of Summit portions. Like at the end of 500 meters, I skipped the cutscene too early and died, and had to replay that entire room. I think that was 17 seconds. And then I did it again in 1500. And I had to do the last stream again for each of those. It was really bad.
Yeah, and we have Ikod here, by the way, now.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Hey.
Hey, dude.
Hey, good run. Was that that was a PB, right? If I'm not mistaken.
No, it was not a PB.
Oh, it wasn't. Oh, I
Yeah,
thought I read your PB as a 43.
Actually, it was a PB base until reflection, and then my game started to lag on Summit, and I lost 2 minutes. So,
Oh,
yeah. But yeah, it was a good run overall. So
It was a very good run. You guys all did very well. For the most part, mostly Flarebear and Ikod, you guys like all traded off who was like extremely close to each other.
And then of course there was Ben just like wrecking us all, right?
Yeah, he finished with a 34.
Yeah, finished
Dude,
5 minutes ahead of everyone.
I was in
At
Summit.
least.
I was in Summit. Like I had the speed racing tab in my other monitor. I was like waiting, like, oh please, I really hope I don't see like the green line of him finishing. Because I was
I thought
hoping,
the exact same goddamn
I know
thing.
I was hoping that he wasn't like on PB pace or something like that. And then I was in like 1,000 meters, and I saw the line. I'm like, what the heck, dude? He's already done. And then I look over and it's Benteezy, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot Ben is also in this race.
Yeah, so congratulations to Ben and Flarebear on the wins. That again, Flarebear and Swesie, you guys were so close to each other. It was nerve-wracking at the end.
Yeah, I
How'd
just
you
wish I
guys-
would have had. If I just had either a better Badlands section or a Shiro section, that would have been a lot better race
Yeah.
for me. But
Yeah, I'm sure both of you.
at least we could put in a good show, so I'm okay with that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
I'm
did
sure
you
both of
guys?
you a bit disappointed in your play there, but it's still made for some great speedrunning to
Yeah.
watch. So
Yeah, how
Well,
did you
I'm
guys
glad
like
to hear that
handle?
at least.
How did you guys like handle the stress? Like, did you guys know that
terribly,
you were that
terribly.
close? Like,
No, I didn't know. I wasn't checking the stream or anything, but I realized that I was doing bad, so that put me a little bit on tilt. In the start at least. And it sort of bounced back in Golden Ridge. I actually got a golden split there by like 5 seconds somehow. And then it completely bounced back the other direction again to the end. So how I handle stress, I really don't. I just go with the flow.
fair enough.
However
fair enough.
it goes.
I didn't get tilted at all from bad play, but I was getting kind of scared. Like, oh man, my best possible time's already down to like mid 37. I wonder if I can still win this, and it just keeps going down more and more and more. But luckily, it didn't. Like, it didn't really get to my biggest time loss until Summit, so I didn't have as much time to notice. Because like, I think I could have still like 37'd at a Summit, I think, but like I lost like so much time there.
Yeah. Well, congratulations you two on your extremely close race. And then Ikod, you had a fairly good run for the most part, and a few unintentional deaths here and there.
I don't
Yeah.
think I'm not sure if that's PB because I know you've PB'd in previous races, so I'm not sure.
I didn't. I PB'd the day I was doing my race, but I didn't PB during the race. I PB'd
Oh.
38:45, if I recall correctly.
Oh wow. Well, congratulations to all of you on your runs. That was very fun to watch. All of you were extremely close at one point to each other. I'm pretty sure everybody was like neck and neck at one point between you three. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun watching this one back because I want to see.
Oh yeah.
Well, I sort of don't want to see it, but you know, I want to see Flarebear.
Yeah, at the same time, you don't
Yeah,
want to look at it,
there's
but you
gonna
still
be a
do.
lot of mixed.
Yeah,
There's gonna be a lot of
it's gonna be a
mixed
bit sad, but you know.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for coming out. If you want to check them out, check out the runners. Definitely do go to their Twitch channels to watch more awesome runs like these ones. And check out the commentators as well, me and Troy. And yeah, when is the next race? I need to. The next race is actually starting. It's already started. It's Scrub Lord versus David. David A. E. I. Oh god. And Salad versus Malay. So it's another 4-person one over.
It's actually
that one-
not.
That one's
one
not
is
being restreamed. Never mind.
It is going to happen off stream. Unfortunately, Speed Gaming's having a lot of events today, so there's no place for it. Unfortunately, however, it's still going to count and all that. Benteezy will be there to oversee it, as far as I am aware, and so it will still count. But because it's group stages, it's not essential that all of them are streamed. I don't feel, but it's still. I'm sure it'd be fun to see at some point. Maybe they'll be streaming it themselves if you want to go find their channels, if you want to take that effort. But
And then we
after
have Tagerson versus Link Force at 6 p.m. over at Speed Gaming 4. So that's the next one on the list.
yes, and then we also have on Speed Gaming 6, Salad versus One Random Paul. At 8, Lori D. Bunnykins versus Fladerby, and then at 9, Dave Stereo versus 4-Eye Steven on 6. So Oh, and then on 10 we got
We have a lot of Celeste tonight.
Link Force. So yes, as just keeps happening, we have so many Celeste games to get through because we are in group stages, round robins, and 128 entrants to go through. So it's a lot of Celeste that we have to get going through. So as to something you can watch right now on Speed Gaming, we got the Handheld Heroes Marathon going on Speed Gaming 1, Resident Evil 4 on Speed Gaming 6, and New Super Mario Brothers New Super Mario Brothers Relay Race is happening on Speed Gaming 4, as well as a Super Metroid Relay Race that it might still be going on Speed Gaming 3. So like I said, a lot of events going on right now, which is why there's a lot of trouble as to where to put all of these races going on.
Yep. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you guys on the next Celeste race later in 50 minutes ish on Speed Gaming 4.
Okay, peace.